Jason, I'm curious. What did you want to be when you was a kid?
I'd say professional baseball player was the first thing. I was really serious about baseball, even into my teens. It would have been my guess to at least like play the minor leagues or something, and that changed once I grew a little bit, developed speed, and realized that track would probably pay for my college. So even though I liked baseball a lot more than I liked track, I was logical enough to focus on the thing that I was probably going to be better at least for scholarships.
So it was always physical sports, and then you end up in like kind of like a mental sport. How did that happen? Was there something that impeded your progress when you were younger as a physical?
Yeah, it's a shame, but being from really poor parts of anywhere, I guess, or being from a really poor part of the United States in West Virginia, education for some families may have been valued, but I was the first person in my family to go to college. I knew I wanted to have a good education just solely off the fact that nobody else did, and I wanted to say I did it, but I didn't really, I wasn't in extracurricular study programs or anything after school as a young kid, which now my favorite things to do are to sit around and learn and read. But as a kid, if I would have been pushed to build a habit, I'm sure I would have loved it, but I think since my surroundings valued physical strength and athleticism, that was kind of the thing that I felt motivated to build up, and I was naturally gifted. So yeah, I guess it didn't occur to me until university that how much I respected the liberation that comes with knowledge and thinking, and I minored in philosophy in college. Once that clicked for me, I started really getting in and trying to develop my mind.
So when you got into philosophy, that is when you decided that you would prefer something more mind-related than physical. There was no like injury or no inability to get into a team or anything like that.
No, I was thriving in college track. Yeah, and then I did have an injury. I had a hip injury that put me on the bed, and a roommate of mine suggested that we started playing poker for fun, and one of those stories, and then boom, it just took off. I was buying every book and reading every book, and I started playing online, and just nights turned into days before it was the time warp, and before you knew it, I was a poker player.
It's incredible that the game has that effect. I remember talking to Roberto Romanello about the same thing. Loved football, broke his leg, was devastated, had to play poker at the same time, and boom, it just kind of took over his life.
Yeah, it's that flow state, it's that little narrow area of thought where there's no thinking at all. You're just in this like tunnel, and time disappears, all of your worries disappear, for better or worse sometimes, and you're just thinking about the best way to make a move. I think that happens, when you're in the blocks for a track meet, or if you're sprinting down the field to score a goal, you're in a different world. You're not thinking of anything else, and I think that small amounts of that are very healthy, and you can see it with a lot of people, that flow state or addiction becomes dangerous. You have to be able to accept the fact that you can't always be in there and step out of it, but as competitors, that's what we're looking for, and that's where the exact same need is reached if it's sitting in a poker table or kicking a ball in goal. I'm Jason Koon, and I am High Stakes Poker.